I'm Ryan O'Dowd, and you're listening to Ryan's Audiobooks on the Issues Magazine YouTube channel. Today we're continuing with Section 19.6 in Book 2 of the Order of Celestial Integration. We're starting a new book called Sketches Eternal Horizon. Out of the eruption of the immediate, sketches are made. 1. Bring together, accentuate, corroborate, refill the momentum, practice decrescendo, speaking to the mausoleum of necessary tomorrows, break tactically, gratefully, in rhythm aficionados, affix frontal nodes, broken gun heralding forest empty. Itinerary marveled in champion shores, heavy-hearted elegance patterned into ecliptic motion, forgetting the wanton lust devoured, forgotten. Bring necessary into the engagement of itinerant hands. Forge and remainder in a fixed lounge causality, eradicating the necessary into an oblivion of none. If one could bring forth the enemy of the censor, it would preclude and occlude the optical illusion. Empty reverie poured like liquid pharmacy into devouring repugnant membrane. Briefly, the spliced unity of internal digestion cracking synthetically with forms and esoteric waves, billowing triumphantly, majestically, marginally from the ocean of saline collusion. Tactical snow, forgotten moment, obliterated sense, staff right, egregious tributary. Precluding the advent of interstitial war patterned after believers, simultaneously devoured in deluxe. Harsh energies radiate soundly. Pictured monuments, elaborate, forsaken tools, piss-hardened, depraved, crave an advent. Meticulous worth is devoured. Hatred of the elliptical spine. 10 times patterned solutions, abbreviated loss, tinsel wave condensed, horrifying endless novelty. Breaks like behemoth screws intersected by triumphantly uniting grotesqueries. Pox-marked degenerate biowarfare. Present in expanding light matrix of synonymous occlusion. Broken down from the seams from the shadowy cavernous cracks, overwhelmed in dire profundity, recondite, rapacious removal, sealed and saccharine. They look back from the vistas of the Montana mountains, pulverized into beauties that sand like snake and obfuscate the ending, sliding from tongues like lizard spit, spoken into bubbles of wit and meander, electrocuting the energy of the non-confrontational, pacifistic decline decayed, spears tight in cavern chest. Blood sprays in triumphant union from the kneeling betrayal, slavery, reduction, conquest, inhales. But ever-present are the expanding avatars of waste, recondite in apocalyptic miasma, pouring themselves into the entities of lust-starved creeds. Like empty goblets of blood, refuse the enemy, become totally and completely beyond the waste of radical development. Technology forlorn, climbing skyward, splintered, forked, opening arms like vines, leaves splayed, fashioned into long, broad place, collecting the energies, sending repugnant electric signal deep into the mind of the unholy. Singing in a mystical union, promising the eternity that would marvel, cracking cold ice in sheets like wintered lakes, bruised but absolute. Waves like laser cuts. Light beyond sight overwhelms the eyes and fills the body. Swallowing the majesty, we phase like incandescent bulbs shattered, brightly scouring the night. Gunpowder photographs, light so bright to blind, pouring out of every eye and mouth and ear. Light so powerful, profound, blazing in heat, but cold, cold as space. Impacting then exploding, projecting from every orifice, from every pore as the human body transcends itself. And journeying into the upper atmosphere in a moment so fast that it cannot be witnessed as what is left of our intelligence and intellect. And in the blink of an eye, we've reached the outer waves, traveling through interstellar space so quickly that we cannot reflect upon ourselves. The connections being formed, fashioned through microphone subliminal, sewn together with threads of wire filament and projected into eternity at a pace beyond understanding. Two. The silence spun like digital ocean warp fan acceleration rays. Immediate and dangerous in the eye of the beholder. breaking itself away from the fastidious edifice and ultimately climbing into a new oblivion. For something awakened them there in the midst of their iconic reverie. Bold, triumphant, neologic, cantankerous, even perhaps goading itself on the edge of the horizon oblivion. For stars flash against the green-white waves of pulsing tension. They had woken up with a reverie, a deep-seated Adam's apple, swallowing, not sure. They'd broken themselves into the tiny targets of desiccated barbarity. They've been enfeebled by the isolation, awakening to the mesmerizing stunt power of 10,000 cyber moons. They're blinking away, up and down, in and out, light on, light off, at the edge of oblivion. Swirling around the toxic landscape, the gravitational pull wave. Unorthodox, it seemed, beyond the pale. But what did any of that mean when the world had fallen apart? They had long since hibernated in the terrestrial ruins. The ice cavernous overflowed with cool jets flow, omniscient, zombified, vibrating, orange-hued, disgusting oblivion. How many times had she opened her eyes before the day cracked? How many times had he seen in through the green laser-like focus? What did it even mean anymore? What did the words mean? To awaken, to become free, to become one, to become adventurous, triumphant. To join together in union in an upward-moving climb of rocket-like strength thrust. Pretending that they didn't see the yesterday as the tomorrow floods before them? Antiquated? No, never. Always bristling on the edge of the life sphere. Bubbling fire, yellow and black, swirling. Stunning. Moving. Always, always moving. The one they left behind was a 9-year-old, alone, forlorn, darkened in the dismal cave, lying down inside sarcophagus. Always forgetting, never remembering. But they remembered. The connection seemed distant. It felt like it separated at an evolutionary crawl. The elastic membrane psychosis connection into the future forward, but unable to separate the child they had left. There are travesties and tragedies here in the escape of the cave and the seeing of a bright new rotten dawn. In shining eyes, glowing, glittering, brilliantly seeing, truly seeing. Transfixed and transcendent, there was still something holding them back. The elastic band, melancholy, the tensile strength steel near to breaking, fear of change, and more than anything the child. They could not forget the child. And what would the child do there, sitting there in the sarcophagus coffin when he'd awaken in his 10-year-old slumber? Feet bare upon the ground, twitching, tired, eyes rubbing, struggling to awaken, not yet realizing that he'd been left behind. The child would not react well. The child would defect. Because traveling light years ahead, too far to see and too much time to contemplate, his parents had left him here starving alone on the edge with a coffin as a bed. So he would defect, and he would join the others. And he would bury the others like a blanket, keeping him asleep, tucking himself in at night in his sarcophagus assembly. And he would tuck in the others, and their death would be his blanket sheets, 4-piece, 2,000 thread count set. Their death would be his comfort. He would defect. Three. Horizon marked like divinity, lime green fading to forest, bright white yellow expanding to azure crystal blue lapis lazuli, glowing full of a brilliant effulgence coating. Grazing light projecting reflected off to gold, lapis lazuli and gold. Brilliant bright yellow gold shining in divinity cascades, ribbons of diagonal white static reflecting off the symmetries of the sarcophagus, playing into the puerile wave of indignant settlers. The crystalline glowing coffin speaks. It speaks of the promise, the eternity after death, the gold never corroding of its own volition, never combining in the atmosphere with other materials. It speaks of a long-lasting, innervating process carried through into infinity. The motion of the light blazing forward in laser-like precision, expanding in every direction through the solar system, passing through the Oort cloud and now into interstellar space. The materials line. The promise is always there, shot like death, carried through without contamination, without defenestration, without decay moving. Dried to the most extreme, freeze-dried beyond contemplation in the vacuum of space, no water, never even reflecting the possibility of having had water, desiccated in the extreme beyond any desert on Earth. Passing, moving, placing itself in large volumes of mystic nebulae, back on Earth a beehive swarm of mechanical, energetic population, folds itself and spins, recombines, dances in pulsating waves, square waves moving with such alacrity and spontaneous splendor. Black iron, shining silver, dusty white, carved polish, aluminum, lead, heavy, unyielding platinum brilliance, all exchanging, moving in incomprehensible motion, the particles of machinery sliding in and out throughout like silver wasps. It moved at 90-degree angles at a rate of speed fast enough to move beyond critical flicker fusion and appear to be a solid blur at times. The Earth repairing itself, an intelligent and instantaneous decision-making power, trees grown where once nothing grew, algae blooms, but not to the point of red tide, instead holding itself in stasis. Perfect placement to provide oxygen without overgrowing into cancerous intent. The anecdotal synergistic movements of nature and technology happening at such speeds that the human mind cannot contemplate. And yet, Earth is exactly as it should be. People no longer live beyond the rational constraints of natural growth. People no longer create waste at an alarming rate, decaying the metals and materials of the earth, transforming them into their own death, which they bury in the ground beneath them as though doing so removes the threat, the condition, the negative impact that will surely reflect upon them in the future. Humans are barely here. They walk the earth like it's a natural park, like a new Eden, experiencing the planet that they once had origin on, maintained in perfect biostasis eternally. The merging and balancing of Gaia and Hephaestus. This is what the earth was like, maintaining our greatest cultural monuments, transporting people renewably without an ounce of waste that hasn't been remediated and recombined and recycled into the process so people can tour our collective homeland, our collective home planet. Most life has long since journeyed beyond the boundaries of our troposphere and our ionosphere, living in artificial habitats, spacecrafts using the knowledge gained by reflecting on what was necessary to create a natural economy in the vacuum of space through repeated experimentation. The inside of every ship, so-called more like an ark, also is existence, perfect stasis and balance of ecology and technology to maintain human life, but also to maintain plant and animal life, to whatever barren rock planets we find. But technically, most life is in the place between planets, in the arcs as they travel, patterned after the brilliant glowing sarcophagus of gold, shine calculatingly brilliant with lapis lazuli azure waves and yellow bands. They fill the unfillable. They journey to the unseen. In short, they live collectively, culturally beyond, and do so without reservation, without resorting to politicians, property, or businessmen, understanding that it's simply the balance of technological and natural process which creates everything we need to live. And long since abandoning the false delusional ideas that once held them back and nearly destroyed, the ecology of the earth itself. A profound, positive, optimistic image perhaps, but possible if we journey together collaboratively, intentionally, and with good communication, as we advance forward into the post-apocalyptic world, beyond our atmosphere forever. End of transcript. That's the end of the book, Sketches Eternal Horizon. Moving on to the next book, The Witness. The Witness. I am the witness. I live in the cracks between the communion of realities. From my space of non-space, I observe the extensions of folding and unfolding time. I am the insurance of existence. Each quantum split requires an observer. Each fracture of the arrow of time must be watched for it to happen. I am the one who watches. I exist one small rank below the unknowable all. I have no place in any timeline, but all sustain themselves through my observation. Without me, there would be nothing. I am the witness. 1. Lines like lightning cascade across the meandering broken cells. Light saturates the color, manipulates the spell. In every net that's cast there is a consequence to follow. Each A leads next to B, and every C is hollow. Words form frames like glass, windows in the past, never built to last. The arrangements are surpassed. You left me here waiting, 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 waiting. You left me here waiting, eternity cascading. 2. Deep into time's turgid mystery, the effervescent flow of completion. There's something to be gained by looking back, but what is here? Bright white yellow light expanding, a memory shallow but real. The truth only existed. It has nothing new to share. Don't you see the impenetrable wastes? Can't you see the something that once was? Aren't you here to manage the overtaken, half-robotic machine shaken? The people are forsaken. Can't you know that what comes it always was? A self-refracting shadow gives a faint harmonic buzz. Don't you have all the futures in your past? Every moment skips the stones on the lake's cast. Eternity repeats, the moments build alike. The future sewn into the present, beaming out its light. Can more than everything exist? The observation is mirrored. Harrowed history, empty-seated, lonely in its theater. 3. Bleak or bright, time will tell. I see all things, and you aren't well. If this man I see before me could ignite, it's possible he'd know unenviable show. If this fool can build it by his might, he might just try, he may extend, and with that die, he could just end. I see all possibilities before me, drink them as I please. I know what he cannot, the method in his plot. He sings a song vibration, a sonic incantation. He brings a revelation, impossible relation. Every wound in future that he calls I see the suture. It can fester or can heal. It can be the body real. I see him standing in the corner of the street, with a microphone inspired, saddled with conceit. I see the charging bull arrange the end to the past epic, empty-headed vanity releasing a new madness. The self of him and that of he, identity retreat, reworded, fractured into mystery and built to be devoted. The fool, the man, the child reborn. The kingdom come, but now what for? I can see it now, can you? Can you see it now? Can you? Can you? Can you? Can you? The witness. I am the witness. I live in the cracks between the communion of realities. I stand beyond eternity in the pathways unknown. Unknowable, transtemporal, non and yet existent. Without me there is nothing. My vision creates. I wonder to myself, are you my shadow? Am I yours? I am not the unknown beyond the all. I am the mirror, the filter. I am evolving crystal lens of the one, broken into shards, each pane another subject. I shatter for the living light. My body is your substance. I stand transubstantiated, the soil and the plant. The universe, my skin cells, all consciousness, my mind. I am the witness. 4. Who are these men? The ones who feed? These pathological, these empty, these victims of their greed? The self-consuming, extracting, poisonous vicars of deceit? Reconstituted images of bloodletting and egomania, sweat and testosterone, pathos and rage. Gentlemen reduced to nothing, animals enlightened. The reflections smeared with dirt and grime live life inside the foxhole. Pikes and daggers, guns and bombs, a spreading table, take your fruit. Eat the stinging citrus tide, burn the mouth with calcified rage from prisoners sacrificed, sacrifice the youth. 5. Singing fluorescent green and light, trails blue sky, chattered birds, warm and sanctifying night. No more need for words. 6. Saints in cloaks tan walking on the red-brown trails, pebbles joined, humming their substantial tune, a noise divine. The body of the life abounds, responded to and breathed like air, the harmony of the few profound, realized in sacred fare. These men are joined, communion laid, the atmosphere, their exhalation, every vine an exhortation, water flows between them. The wild, ordered stasis brought a temporary, eternal thought. The song can truly free them. The words can truly feed them. 7. Alienation, each called an identity. Separation defined on false premises. Tumor growth expands the body. Create the tissues needed, but the structure fails. The human tissues have no end. The bridge between the matter glues platelets to eyes. The growth is real but subverted. The ligaments are poison. The monster it creates is doomed to die. 8. Nations are not real, but I hear them spoken of often. They represent potential, a false sort of communion. A premise for a few to get their fill. The reality, divisions meant to kill. Divisions as in cuts, divisions as in war. The divisions are the point, it seems, the floor. Nations are invented as diversion from the birth of understanding the true unity of earth. The truth that there is nothing to divide the human species, but the fear that humans' union would collapse the feudal wave. Overwhelmed to know, they beat the grave. 9. I am blind. I am blind to the unreal. I cannot see a lie. A hollowness is empty. The invisible to me is that which isn't really true. As the witness, I'm unable to affirm it. The truth, the common good, the deep connection fills. The wars come from the lie. One must build false to wage them. The connection between all must be ignored to face them. Obscured, this is the truth. I am the witness, it is proof. It is all that I can see, stone set to base them. 10. Fractured lattice spreading like spider's web of silk. The glass is broken, fist command, the empire is still. Built from many particles, convinced that they are whole. Severed like a nation's blood, the calculus is cold. Every man against the rest, the crumbling hill of soil resets the inefficient mess, but murders through the staff. An empty chart, the missile flies, a rambling art, the soldier dies. Civilian cries, the nation tries, but shatters, burst in half. Salve charisma spread across the digging mud slum alibi, with sigh and time the horror guides impaled through the calf. 11. Raised like cornstalks growing upwards from the desolation. He rises in the fervent words, the spawn and recitation. Become me, says the man who knows no restraint. Become me and assassinate the warm, compassionate wastes. The endless consequences of humanity's misdeeds have led us to a factory of iron, blood-soaked weeds. It takes a greater force to cure the lesser, to unite the shards of infidels, a power and a message. The folly of the past, the simple life, the breeding grounds of truth must beg now to survive. We have no other use. You, like me, my friends, are peerless. Will create a new gelled glue. Will martyr everyone who cannot spend their lives for you. In the killing and the rage, will put down every false-held prince, rule by forceful words, destroy the governments. I need no laws or restraint. You, like me, are free. We can simply rule by force, or else still the enemy. Death for them is freedom. That we can guarantee. 12. So shattered, broke to pieces, glass to sand, the atomized, elusive, shrunken land. Each person either death or in conformity, a testament to strength in the new unity. He'll take submission, call it peace, demand surrender, claim release. Subjected victims say he'll free. His allowance of their lives he'll claim as victory. His murderers' ransom he'll call a peace deal. The gun he holds rephrase, compassion he wields. Steal everything they have, rephrase it as release. Murder what is left and claim it as mercy. And with thousands dead and the rest enslaved before our eyes, they'll shout that he deserves the highest prize. 13. Lightning streams split, span the cosmos, growth in web design. Fantastic needles space-defied, retreat from madness, world subsides. The pattern of the lightning trick, the broken crests of mountain waves, the spread of cybernetic lights expand like splitting rays. 14. She runs in sonic charge. She has the ends in hands. She spans across the galaxies, articulates demand. Her knowledge stored in coded forms of electronic surge. Her synthesis of technate torch bears witness to the merge. As individuals spread through space, she connects the disparate vastness. I see her running in mirrored place. Bullet moves, the path is, winning her the race. Approach the edge of time's insight. Pursue the light. In night, in place, flip entropy to sight. 15. Mirrored silver water pool, staring like an ancient scry. The self returns the image, screaming storms reply. The black hole crucible conducts a final past reflection, twisting and reliving, pushing to perfection. The blue-gray silver hypnotizes, a hand grows forth like mushroom stem. I cut it down and ask again, ask again. 16. The coterie crackdown methods blink, moments sink. The end of the retreat, stifled lies, empty eyes. Revert, reflect, return, remake, reset, 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 reset. Viper laser, streams imperfect, unassailable, engineer. The burning filament draws near. We hear. 17. In an instant everything fuels dim, finds up from the ground. They regrow, replacing what's within. Profound. Sired light, a particle, a beam, a thinly sweeping gate. All at once history is remade, along with fate. 18. Faster than the speed of recognition, connection ascertained, bodies and remains. Torn open, left to bloom, an instant in an hour, composed just like a flower, from predation to the tower. In every law and war and army still, absorbed along with frank guerrilla milled. The powder, like a flower, is water of renewal. The newest thing bizarre, unknown, has facets, like a jewel. Restructured quickly, combine like one, the energy witness, the Aten sun. Eternity expands, undoes the tension. Time breaks out, direction and dimension. She, we, they, he, us, dissolving wormhole dust. Connecting places, time, location, bravery, memory, instigation, bought the ticket to the west, sent the fathoms towards the best. Before they could decide, to try it out, to fight, to seek to die, they saw themselves before their eyes, all potential realized. And what they see is what they are, what close they think brought from afar. As soon as the selfhood was realized, their witness became the eternal skies. No time to forget or to renew the call. The moment is now stretched beyond the walls. She, her, us, we, they, he, you, me. 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 The witness. I am the witness. I live in the cracks between the communion of realities. I speak to the unspeakable, between dimensionality. My life is not in time. I can't forget. I have no night or day. I have memory and sight. I use both to maintain. You are my presentation, the theater of the multi-world, the observed breath coalesced. You are illustrations tattooed on the moving membrane of existence. You are because I see you are. I am the witness. And thus concludes Section 19.6 of Book 2 of the Order of Celestial Integration. We'll start next time, Section 19.7, with a new book called Wonders of the Crystal Palace. I will see you then. Alam.